Well, the environmental studies that were conducted and the patronage projections that were made shows that this should be a very productive line in terms of use levels. The projections for phase one are, I think, 27,000 riders a day by 2020 if you only built as much as phase one. But when you add phase two, that goes up into the 50,000 level, which is a fairly high usage for a light rail project. It doesn't sound impressive to say that it'll provide service from Culver City to downtown in under 30 minutes. That doesn't sound real fast, but it will be able to do that any time of day, even at peak hours, and that trip in peak hours on the streets or freeways can the underground construction is the most expensive option because impressive time savings to users of both alignment. The experience that Metro has had with the other rail lines is that the impacts are generally positive in terms of it tends to increase property values, and it tends to spur development around the stations. Basically, there will be some impacts because, and there's a lot of concern about noise, vibration, impacts on traffic and so forth, but the line has been designed to minimize those. For instance, on noise, we have sound walls where they're what the environmental document identified as sensitive receptors, generally residences within certain distances of the rail line, and where the existing the ambient noise levels are low enough that the trains will actually be heard. We're installing sound walls to protect those sensitive receptors. We're doing similar things where vibrations might be a problem. We're putting in what's known in the industry as ballast mats, which are rubberized mats that go underneath the rail, into the rail bed underneath the rails to absorb the vibrations and reduce the transmission of vibrations to nearby properties. So there are a lot of things being done to make sure the negative impacts are mitigated, and to design a line that would be attractive to the community and useful to the community. The underground structure like the trench, you have to deal with going down into the ground. In this case, we go down more than 35 feet, and you run into differing conditions, groundwater, soils that don't behave the same way as the geotechnical testing you did before indicated it should, either more runny or bigger boulders, things, and so all of those represent challenges. I think that what the value will provide is a high level of value for the money expended. I mean, a lot of people look at a project that's $860 million and think that's a lot of money, but if you think in terms of how long it will be in place and how many people it will serve over that time, I think it's a very good investment. I actually was myself approaching retirement and thinking in terms of retiring until this project came along. But it was sufficiently attractive both from a engineering and construction challenge to me, but also because it seemed to me to be something very needed by the community and something that would be worthwhile, spending time working on to accomplish. So I think that the positive aspects of it convinced me that I wanted to be involved and to postpone my retirement to do so. Well, I've been in the rail transit business, in Los Angeles since 1981 when I went to work for Metro. My first project when I joined Metro was the Red Line, and I really think extending that further west is a very important priority, because although this will help transportation situation on the west side. It certainly won't solve it, and other lines are definitely going to be needed, and I think the west side can justify that with the traffic congestion that it has now and the travel demands that it'll have in the future. Before I went to work for Metro, I worked at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory in what they call their civil systems, which is trying to find civil applications for space technology. And I was working on a lot of programs that were structured towards trying to reduce America's dependency on foreign oil and to find alternative energy sources. We spent a lot of time when I was at JPL trying to get the auto industry interested in electric cars and hybrids. And it's taken them a while, but now they seem to be very earnest about developing those technologies. We suffer a little in this society from being too isolated from each other, and a lot of people look negatively at public transportation because you have to go ride with the public, but I think there's a lot of merit to that, and I think that people who do it more regularly see that that's a positive aspect of it. You get to meet other people and see people you wouldn't otherwise interact with. I mean, you wouldn't have the opportunity to do so. So I think it can be a social positive force for social reasons as well as for just moving people around. If we get the transit system expanded like it is in other major cities, you're no longer forced to have a car to really get around.